It's already the end of January, and believe it or not, we're heading into tax time. I'm here with Matt Leary, who's a CPA at BDO, and he's going to give us some tips if you're a homeowner as we head into tax season.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. So my number one tip, no matter what you do in tax season, is, especially if you use a CPA, is be organized. The more organized you can be, it's going to be less time that your CPA has to spend on your stuff, which means dollars saved for you by not paying them to ask you questions.
So what kind of forms?
Yeah, so the first thing, especially since we're talking about real estate, is if you've bought or sold a home, you're going to want to make sure that you provide your CPA with your closing statement. That way they have the information that they need to calculate the gain or loss on your sale in any basis. Speaking of basis, if you've made any improvements to your home, especially if you're a seller or a buyer, you're going to want to make sure you provide the receipts to your CPA on the stuff that you've done to your home so that they can make sure that they take it into account when calculating what your tax due is on your sale, if any.
Okay. So what about like mortgage interest?
Yeah, so mortgage interest, right? Every year you get a 1098, that's the form that you get from your bank provider, or excuse me, your loan provider, that reports the interest that you paid onto your home. Interest is deductible on your home, your personal residence, and your second residence up to a certain dollar amount, but you want to make sure that you provide that form to your CPA.
If they don't have that form?
If they don't have that form, typically you can get it online through your provider. If you need help doing that, a lot of times your CPA or whoever your tax person is can go online with you or help you get that information. Speaking of mortgage interest statements, if you refinanced your home throughout the year or if your mortgage was sold or moved to another lender, you're probably going to have more than one. So make sure you tell your CPA or whoever's doing your taxes that happened so that they can make sure to get all of the statements that they need from you to cover the interest.
So what about if I am buying a home and I'm thinking about some home improvements or I've made some home improvements?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, you want to make sure that you have the receipts for those things because those things help to offset any gain that you might ultimately owe on tax. And that's true whether it's your personal residence or, say, a rental property that you're buying. Speaking of other improvements too, you want to make sure that you're buying energy efficient improvements. Talk to the contractors who are doing the improvements because a lot of times they can certify whether or not those improvements qualify as energy efficient, because when you have energy efficient property, it qualifies for tax credits and additional deductions that you can take on your return.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, good to know. So what about if you work from home?
Yeah, so if you work from home, a lot of people now, obviously with the pandemic, are doing that. If you're just an employee, it's not a super great benefit, but if you're a real estate professional or you're someone who has your own business, working in your home can be a lucrative deduction for the home office deduction. So you want to make sure that you're tracking, one, the square footage of your home compared to the square footage of your office. That's the important thing because that's how it's calculated. And then you want to make sure that you're tracking things like utilities, things like internet bills, other expenses that are related to your house, because those things can translate into business deductions for you as opposed to simple itemized deductions, which may or may not be as big of a benefit.
Owning a home is a big responsibility and likely your largest investment. So if you're looking to have a little tax break at tax time, taking these tips into consideration and for more details, please contact us, especially Matt, at the numbers below.